Thank you, everybody, for your time and for coming to this meeting. We'd like to discuss our three products that we have proposed for India and how we want to hit the demand that we see in India. I want to introduce my group real quick. First, myself, Matt, and then we have Jessica, Brian, Levi, and that takes care of everybody in our group. Moving on, we're going to go to our first product, which is modest clothing line. Now, India's culture is to dress modest and can be very colorful. So we like to address that and to make something unique just for this industry. There are around 1.35 billion people in India that need to buy clothing. That represents their beliefs and way of life. So as we address this market, as we provide a need for this culture, then we're able to make a profit and we're able to meet a demand. The climate in India tends to be very hot, so they need clothes that will not only look good and modest, but will be comfortable. Now, Indian people are open to new ideas, to clothing, and the way America has their different um, forms of clothing, as long as their traditions are met. So we ask, why here, why now? So the demand for clothing in India is close to 15 billion with an average growing rate of 17.7%. We need to definitely get in this market, especially right now where we have a new product that can set a platform for other clothing products. Now, India is open to new designs from American fashions, which opens a market for us to introduce our new fashionable clothing featuring our new breathable fabric. This is awesome. It lets our clothing breathe. It lets these people that want to dress modestly do that so they can still be with their culture, but they are also comfortable in that the hot climate. Now, modesty is everything in Indian culture, which allows us to differentiate our product from other American products because of the modesty, because they have their pants and everything that covers their body. Okay, so moving on to product number two, it's filtered watered kiosk station. Now, clean, safe water is a necessity for each and every person, no matter what country you're in. But when we look at India, India ranks the highest in the world with 75.8 million people without access to safe water. Because of these conditions, in many towns in India, people have no proper way to dispose of sewage, which contaminates the only water supply around. So think of it, these people are have no access to the sewage, and then it seeps into their lake or their pond or whatever water assets they have, and then there's no way to filter it. So this contamination water causes typhoid, diarrhea, hepatitis, and cholera, which kills 1.5 million children worldwide. So this demand is definitely there, and we need to think about changing these people's lives. Now, the possibilities are limitless. The demand, it'll always be there. People always need water. Um, and as India progresses, they are able to get better products, but right now they have a very dire need. Now, these standalone stations can be set up anywhere there's water and will not require an attendant. The cost to produce one self-serving station would be around $750, and they would last 8 to 10 years. Um, we see the revenue out of this will pay for itself in no time, and the way it changes people's lives will be able to not just make it easier, but it'll actually save their lives. So that's just amazing just to think about. Another service we can offer is delivery. We can put some of these people to work and offer this delivery to people that have more money that can give them a job and just help the economy that way as well. Now we are on to our third and final product, smart glasses. Now this is a growing market. When we look at glasses and technology and combine them, it's just amazing to think where we are in today's standards. So as we look at India, we have about 550 million people that need glasses just in India. In 2017, there were 291.6 million people using smartphones. So as we combine those numbers and we see that there is a huge demand for these accessories for these smartphones that these people are using, and we know that the market isn't going to be for the poor people, but we're able to hit another barrier, which is the medium to high market buyers. So this will engage in those 291.6 million people that already have these smartphones. It'll help them to be aware of this new product that is not very known out there. So if we get into this market at this time, we're able to build a brand for ourselves, build a name, and be able to compete with other competitions that are out there right now, such as Google, Samsung, Ipsen, and Vuzix. Now, that's for our products. Now let's introduce why all these products make sense and how they will all intertwine with the rest of the presentation. We're now hear from Jessica.
Thank you, Matt. As we enter the market in India, we should be aware of the cultural differences between ourselves in the United States and India. As you can see, the differences that are the biggest are in power distance, individualism, long-term orientation, and indulgence dimensions with the Hofstede dimension comparison. Now, the biggest difference is power distance. There is an unspoken caste system in India that we must respect or they will not do business with us. Though they are a democracy, the traditions of the ancient caste system run very deep, and we should not introduce our American ways that all men are treated equal. If we are meeting with them, we must assure that our people of the same rank in business or higher will be the only ones there. When we work with our employees in India, we must accept the respect and reverence that they give us as their superiors. Now, India is a balance between individualism and collectivism. They're collective because they are built into groups like families and neighborhoods and the people they work with. Employers act like a parental unit. They treat their employees like family, and so we should adopt that. Treat our employees like family in India. We could do this with business social media platforms and being able to share their personal lives with each other and taking care of them as if they were our family. This will ensure that we will have a very low turnover rate and a very high output from our employees. Since India's main religion of Hinduism teaches karma, they feel that everything happens for a reason and it's best not to question, but to adapt to the changes in life as they come. One of their famous philosophers, Gandhi, said, "You must be the change you wish to see in the world." India's people look for change and they embrace it. A word they like to use is adjust. They will expect that the first offer we bring to the table is always adjustable. We need to be aware of that. They will also expect us to adjust for the unexpected, meaning that if an employee comes in a few hours late because their kid was sick, that is totally acceptable there. India has a lot of restraint. As a highly religious country, they were taught from a very young age to restrain their passions. We can respect their religious dedication by staying professional in our meetings, keeping company parties to minimum, and always serving vegetarian dishes. This also works really well with our clothing of a modest clothing line. When we promote our business, we should always focus on our products' helpful attributes and use very modest people in our ads. In conclusion, while working in India, we need to research their hierarchies to know how best to respect their authorities and position. We need to let go of our long-term view and be okay with accommodating with India culture and traditions. We need to respect their social groups and look for ways that will benefit the whole group. And we need to bridle our passions and show an increased amount of restraint. Now we're going to hear a little bit more about the political and legal section in India from Brian.
Thank you. In regards to the political climate in India, we believe that it is a perfect climate for our company to enter into India. Over here, we have the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, who is in charge of fiscal policy, and the Governor of the Reserve Bank of India, Urjit Patel, who is in charge of monetary policy. In relation to the Prime Minister, he is a huge success both economically and politically. The economy is booming, and Narendra Modi is the most popular Indian leader since Mahatma Gandhi, both inside and outside the country. Now, a little more than midway through his 5-year term, his job approval rating stands at 88%. His tough and sometimes unpopular economic reforms have put India on track to be the world's fastest growing major economy in 2018. Now, the Reserve Bank of India, they released a statement that they would leave their key policy rate at 6.5%. Market spectators predicted the interest rates would increase, but the move the RBI made sends a message that they believe the current economy can keep its current growth and not stray from it. Interest rates have been at a steady decline since late 2012, with rates being at almost a 6-year low. This is a good sign for businesses looking to use debt securities to capitalize their company. Currently, the corporate tax rate stands at 30%. The government has announced its plans to reduce that tax. Progressively over the next few years, they plan to reduce the corporate tax to 25%, which is still just above the worldwide average. In 2016, the Comprehensive Goods and Services Tax was passed, which was aimed at helping to reduce the complexity of tax law, as well as eliminating multiple taxation situations. Overall, these charts, they represent the economic freedom within India. The two categories in which they score the highest are in government spending and tax burden. Taxes are low and government spending is low, which is great. However, the overall score still could be improved as it still falls just below the worldwide average. Overall, these developments, though, of easing the corporate tax rate and reducing the red tape to cut through speak favorably to India's attitude towards international business. As the second most populated country in the world, right behind China, you can be sure that the government looks to capitalize on their workforce and GDP by being an active player in the world economy. You can already see this happening with many IT support departments and call centers being outsourced to firms in India that provide competitive offerings. We believe our business can also provide competitive offerings within India.
As we talk about trade in India, there are 60% of all trade in India comes through FTA agreements. FTA stands for Free Trade Agreement. And these trade agreements are with high-ranking companies throughout the world: Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil, Pakistan, China, and of course the US. Through these FTA agreements and through our product so that we can get our products out there. In addition, the other 40% of trade comes from different trade agreements that with other countries and other groups throughout the world. So India is very open to different trade and different trade agreements that we can utilize when incorporating our products into their economy and their market. In addition, foreign direct investment is huge in India. And on the left shows different products that are traded throughout India with services, trade, telecommunication, and computer technology. Graph on the right are the top leading countries that do foreign direct trade investments with India. We have Singapore, Mauritius, Japan, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom. So foreign trade investments are bringing in a huge equity inflow into India with billions and billions of dollars being traded. So we can utilize this information as we think about different trade and different investment in our products with India.
Back to the Economic Freedom Index just a little bit. These two graphs represent how free India is compared to the rest of the world. The graph on the left is a measurement of how fiscally free India is, and the graph on the right measures their Labor Freedom Index. As you can see, there's still some room to improve on there. However, India is on the right track to right the ship to have a better Labor Freedom Index as well as a better Fiscal Freedom Index. As you can see, the exchange rate between the Indian rupee and the dollar has been dropping for some time. It continues to be trending downward. This is because their trade deficit is becoming wider and wider. At the end of this year, India's net export is expected to be around $156 billion. This is a nearly $50 billion increase from the previous year. The biggest reason for the decline of the rupee, which benefits our company if we hold on to our money in US dollars. Thank you for tuning into our presentation and for giving some time to listen to our business for market entry into India.